Hey everyone, welcome back to another Alliance War video. I think I'm finally starting to get the hang of this thing. I'm fighting for the Alliance XMN. We're matched up against XMN. We're fighting in tier 2. With 3 wars left in the season, looks like we have to go 2-1 to sneak up into plat 1. So these are some pretty big wars ahead of us. So we're going up path 4. In section 1 we got a Claire and a Morningstar, 2 pretty common placements and also really comfortable fights. Then we're going to fight Node 23 Mole Man with Mixed Master and Power Focus 1. Fought him already this season, I think we're pretty comfortable there. Then we're finishing off the war on path 7 with Dragon Man and Nick Fury on the path, and then we're going to fight the shared Apocalypse fight in section 2, and he's got Kinetic Transference and Powerful from Afar. This is who we're bringing in. We got Omega Red at rank 3 Sig level 200, such a beast. He's coming in to take on 4 fights, and anytime we have a chance to bring in my man Dr. Octopus at rank 3, it's a good day. We're bringing him in. He's there to take on Dragon Man and Apocalypse. And Sabretooth, as per usual, when we bring in Omega Red, he's there to pair along with Omega, allowing him to stack up spores a lot easier. Just a really cool synergy piece. First fight. Node 1, steady build up Fury, running on fumes. We got a Claire here. She's really straightforward. We've done this fight a bunch of times already this season. Let the spores do the work. We'll delay and slow our combos. And we'll bait her heavy and her SP1. They both trigger bleeds on myself, which is gonna allow Omega Red to keep his death field up for a lot longer. So this fight should go down in the blink of an eye if everything goes properly. Doesn't look like they're running limbers, so we have a nice stun duration, allowing us a little bit of extra time to stack more spores. And she's already starting to melt here. If we can get her to fire off her SP1, she's gonna re-trigger bleeds, allowing us to keep us her death field. There we go. And this fight's pretty much over. Not even a 30-second fight. Already through the first one. Node 10, steady build up Fury, long distance relationship. We got a Morningstar here. And this fight should be really easy as well, considering every time I hit her, I have a chance to proc a bleed on myself, which is super cool. That just gives us more time to have our death field up. So we're going to let our spores do the work. We'll delay and slow our combos down, depending on if they're running limber or not. Just a rank 2, that health pool isn't too bad. Try and get that parry. It looks like there's maybe a point in limber or 2. All good. Still a straightforward fight here. We've already triggered a few bleeds on ourselves. As you can see, that death field is going to be going on pretty much for the entire fight, which makes Morningstar a really comfortable matchup here. Lock in our spores at the end, and this fight is over. Another sub 30-second fight. Pretty good way to start a war. Good way to get a rhythm in. Make sure we're feeling comfortable, because we have a Node 23 Mole Man coming up next. We fought this one once before in the season, and we're pretty comfortable with this fight. We're going to fight him like we would fight a Korg on this node. We'll stick to medium light combos. Gotta know that 3 spores means it's 100% safe for us to parry. Our parry stuns are gonna stick, he's not gonna shrug them off. And we're gonna let the spores do the work here. It's just a 5-star rank 5, so that health pool isn't too much of a worry for us. We're gonna take a few hits on the block at the start just to give us a chance to stack up spores. Have a combat regen boost on just to mitigate some of the block damage at the start. And we're able to lock in our spores at 13, which is a pretty good start. And I still have that bleed up, so I still have a little bit of time to stack more. I missed time the heavy there to lock in my spores, so I end up losing a few, but that's okay. We're able to recover with 17, and he's already halfway down, so no sweat. We're in a good spot here. We're going to continue with medium light, let him dash into us and parry. We'll continue with locking our spores. We're still holding at 17, and this fight's pretty much over. Not even 40 seconds, and he goes down smoothly. Just a small timing error with my heavy, but no sweat. We get through that fight without a scratch. Next up, we have a 6-star Dragon Man on Spite and Powerful from Afar. This is Node 33. We're bringing in Dr. Octopus, and our plan here is we're going to back off. We're going to let Powerful from Afar and Power Charge do its thing, fill our physics category up to 100. And that's going to proc a Power Luck debuff, and from that point on, if we can parry heavy for the rest of the fight, should end with no sweat. That's going to give us full control over his power. Any fight where there's some sort of hacked power gain or enhanced power gain, those sort of situations, those are really good spots for Dr. Octopus to be in. So the start is really important. We're going to back off. and we're going to fill our physics category up to 100, and you'll see that that's going to activate a power lock debuff at the start. There we go. And from that point on, if we parry heavy, that's full control of the fight. So at this point, all we have to worry about is maintaining our spacing, giving us enough time to parry comfortably. We can't really miss parries because that power lock window isn't that long. And you can see that I have the biology category at 100, and what that does, that actually raises Dr. Octopus's block proficiency, and you'll see that all my parries are actually doing 0 damage to us. So they're perfect parries. Always good to see that full yellow bar holding up in the middle of a fight. But you can see we're pretty comfortable here. He's playing pretty predictably. We're able to parry heavy, getting a little bit of bonus damage from that power lock being detonated. Looks like it's 6k. And 2 more parries here, and he should be done. And this is as clean of a Dr. Octopus fight as we could have hoped for, and we got 2 more left to go here. Next fight here on node 43, we have a rank 3 Nick Fury on kinetic transference and aspect of evolution. I hate this fight. I think Omega has an okay matchup here. It's just really sketchy, and it can get out of hand really quickly. We're going to try and lock in our spores early and hopefully use kinetic transference and use our block to push Nick Fury to his SP2, because if he fires off an SP1, he's going to get up to an SP3. And we're going to use an invulnerability boost here just for safety, and you're going to see it's going to come in handy here, and I'm really thankful I used the invulnerability boost. So we have to get a really good start here and lock in spores, and taking a blocked hit without a parry isn't great. So we lock in minimal spores here, and he's already at a bar of power. And realistically, I should have held my block here just to discourage him from throwing an SP1, but he throws his SP1 and he goes right to his special 3. So first hit of the invulnerability boost gets tanked within the first 15 seconds of the fight. Not really how you draw it up, but that's why the invulnerability boost is there. We're in a good position, and something weird happens. We parry him, but he's immune. I think that's a bug, as he's still in his first form. Gotta look into that in a bit. So at this point, we're just focused on pushing him to his SP2, because we can fully dex that. Don't have to worry about any SP3 shenanigans. We'll continue to hold block just to encourage him to hit into our block and push himself to an SP2. Looks like we're a little more comfortable with the rhythm of the fight now. Just want to get this life done and try and blitz through his second form. The longer I'm in this fight, the longer we give aspect of evolution time to buff his block penetration and power gain to levels that are just straight up uncomfortable. So I'm trying to get out of this fight as quickly as possible. We're not really getting much work out of our spores. They're only getting locked in at around 5 to 7. Look like we're able to get to 10 for just a little bit there, but we're almost through his first form, and we're almost at an SP3. So we just have to push him to an SP2, hopefully let that degen tick him down, and then finish him with an SP3 here. So we're in a pretty good position. The degen's ticking for a decent amount of damage, and we don't really feel rushed. Hopefully take a few blocked hits here and get him to another SP2. Boom, there we go. That's well done. And at this point, this fight's pretty much over in my eyes. We're able to escape a few sweaty moments, but this SP3 should finish him off. And 5 fights down, 1 more to go. Hopefully we can finish this one clean. Last fight of the war, node 47, we've got a juicy apocalypse here. Bringing in Dr. Octopus, because this should be a pretty good matchup for him. We're going to let the power gain trigger the power lock debuff at the start of the fight, and then parry heavy for the rest of the way. Now our plan B, this is going to come in handy during the fight because I mess up, is to get to an SP3 and fire it off while the power lock is active. And I'll explain why that's our plan B in the middle of the fight so you can follow along with what happens. So here we go. I'm going to back off at the start of the fight and try and trigger the power lock debuff. And I take a blocked hit, which throws my timing off, and it procs the power lock debuff earlier than I expected. And so you see I missed the window for refreshing that power lock. Little bit frazzled, took a few hits to the face there, didn't do too much damage, so I'm okay. So at this point, I know that the power lock debuffs are going to be able to keep his power in check, so I don't have to worry too much about kinetic transference. The only thing I really have to worry about is pretty much taking blocks to the, or hits to the face. I want to preserve my health pool, and I'm going to plan B here. So plan B here is to get to my special 3, and if I fire that off while I have the power lock debuff up, it's gonna refresh at an extended duration, giving me more time for him to empty out his power bar and then get into that parry heavy rotation. So this fight isn't going as I drew it up, but we're still in a pretty good position here. I'm gonna have an you'll see that power lock debuff, it's got an extended time, we're okay. He fires off his SP1, which means he's under a bar of power. I take more hits to the face, not ideal, really sloppy on my end, but we're able to get back into the rotation that we wanted to. We're able to parry heavy, we're removing that power lock debuff and reapplying it because of powerful from afar. And at this point we have regained full control of the fight, and we're no longer sweating it out. We're pretty confident with the ending here. We're back up to an SP3 that we can fire off for another emergency power lock if we needed, but we shouldn't. These parry heavies are doing a decent amount of damage, especially with class advantage. And one more parry heavy, and this fight's down. Made a bunch of mistakes in this fight, but we're still able to get out without a death, and with a decent amount of our health pool still intact. So that's the end of our war. We had 6 fights. We had a really good start to the war with really good first 4 fights, and then things got a little bit sketchy with the last 2, so I'm not happy about that. Needed to do a better job of staying sharp at the start of the fight, but I am really happy about how I recovered and was able to adapt with the game plan, and that's progress, and I'm pretty happy about that. We have 2 more wars left in the season. It looks like we're gonna get the win here, so we got to go 1-1 to lock in Plat 1. So it's going to be fairly stressful, but love to be in this position. Thanks for sticking around. Catch you in the next war.